Morning guys, 0500, just sat outside Netheravon and heading over to Magic. I have to talk quiet because the missus is in bed. So yeah, we're going to head over to Magic with Brian and see what's happening. Hopefully, it's a 5-star rated day. I'm going to fly local, try and get a triangle in. So hopefully we'll see you on the hill. Have a good day guys. So morning again guys, time is just after 6:30. It's been blue skies, stunning all the way to pretty much the border of Wales, and if you look outside now, you can see it's about 100-foot cloud base. You can only just see the top of them pylons. I've come over to Wales before and it's been exactly like this. This to me normally is a good indicator we're going to get a really stunningly hot day. So yeah, fingers crossed. So I never got any video footage of me going up the hill, but what we did have is we ended up going to the wrong hill and it took us 2.5 hours instead of an hour. So by the time the three of us got to the top, we were absolutely knackered. There's nothing to go there at all. Okay, so I got off and this was the first time of me flying Magic, or just to the right of Magic. This is a west facing slope, and one guy had already taken off and pushed down this ridge and he was trying to get to the heads of the valleys. There's also another chap who I don't know called Pete on a Xeno who'd got a really nice thermal at the end of this ridge, so I thought I'd go down there and try and tap into it. By the time I got down there, he'd bombed out of the thermal and it had put me in a little bit of a tricky situation of whether I should carry on or whether I should try and go back down the ridge, which was risky to say the least because there was quite a lot of sinking air. So when I got to the end of the ridge, the thermal that Pete had been in with his Xeno was actually still there a little bit. So I did a few S-turns and then got into the sort of like the height where I thought it was safe to do a couple of 360s. And once I had sufficient height, I then decided I was going to go for it and just go down the ridge and try and head towards the head of the valleys. So you'll see Pete just coming across the front of me now and he's in sync. And unfortunately for Pete, that was the end of his flight. He just slowly trickled back down into the centre of the valley. And this was, I thought, my opportunity just to follow this track and actually start heading further west. You can see actually though, very quickly I get low and I'm in a little bit of difficulty. So I spend a good 20 minutes of the flight just going backwards and forwards here. You'll see on this in a moment where I start to bring my foot out because I'm convinced I'm going to land. You can see the water below me. I thought, here we go, I'm going to land in a bog. But the hill does steepen off and drop away just in front of me here, and I just start to get a little bit of lift and think, you know what, I can probably fly out into the valley and land near the main road. But luckily, I start getting a little bit more lift and actually just S-folding it backwards and forwards, and I end up about 300-400 foot above the hill. Eventually I tap into this thermal and I just take it all the way back to the top of the ridge, and it gets me at about 3,000 foot. So that was the first thermal that got me out of quite a lot of trouble. At this point I realise I can get back to Crick now if need be. So at this point I now want to start pushing back down the ridge to where I came from originally. This is my opportunity to get back on that ridge, and as I mentioned before, to head towards Crick. My sort of intention here was, because it wasn't working, I was going to land back at the car, or the van, round the back of the tabletop mountain, but because it was quite lumpy, I decided actually what I would do, or my intention was to land at Crick and then walk back up to the car park or the campsite. So my intention now is to push into the valley. However, I've got to go around a bit of a spur and I'm a little bit paranoid about flying into rotor. So I want to get a lot higher so I can go over the spur, which you can just see behind my head now. Luckily I tap into a thermal, and again it takes me back up to 3,200 foot, which is the highest part of the flight. So I've got around the spur now, and actually there's another little spur there you can see in the picture that I need to go around as well. So I'm hoping that the spur there will kick off again and I can fly over the top of it, which it does. So I tap into another lovely thermal off a farm building here, and just really slowly just follow it down the valley. So I actually go past Crick, and then that's when I decide, you know what, I'm going to go for Abergavenny. and I've flown this valley a few times, knowing that on the Abergavenny side, the opposite side to Blorange, so Sugar side, the ridgeline's quite steep there. With the direction of wind, there should be thermals releasing off that left side as you're flying into Abergavenny, and it worked out pretty well actually. This thermal took me just over 3,000 feet. So at this point now I got another nice thermal, and I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just push on again and try and get to Hereford. But the sky was very blue, and to be honest, all I was thinking about is getting in the river and going for a swim. So I decided at that point that I was actually going to come out of this thermal and find some sinking air. So you can see the river, and I've decided where I'm going to go swimming. And there was a chap in the field packing up, and it turned out to be Ali Andrews. That was the first time of meeting him. I've seen his name around quite a lot, but we had a nice chat in the field. And again, you can see here, all I'm doing is losing a little bit of height. I'm using these trees in the centre of the field as my reference, just to make sure that I'm going to get just above them and then turn right back into the field. Throughout the whole flight, coming down this valley, I was doing 55 kilometers an hour. So naturally I presume the wind would be coming from behind me. It just happens as I turned, a thermal crest came across the grass, and I was doing about 45 kilometers on landing, and luckily managed to save it. You'll see now as I start my turn, I get a nice surge of speed, and I'm like, yep, I'm definitely flying downwind. This could be interesting. I think luckily the grass was super dry, trainers gripped, and that slowed me down enough and kept me on my feet and pushed me forward. But yeah, fantastic day to say we're in the middle of a heat wave, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it.